Today, we're diving into one of the wildest turnaround stories from ancient history. I mean, it's about how a powerful ruler loses literally everything, only to claw his way back and get even more. We're talking about the single, chaotic year that took Herod from a respected ruler to a desperate fugitive.
So that's really the big question, isn't it? How does a guy with the full backing of the Roman Republic go from the absolute height of power to running for his life in just a few months? It sounds impossible, right? Well, let's get into it. All right, so to understand the story, you have to focus on this incredibly tight window of time. Everything happens between 41 and 40 BC. And trust me, a lot goes down. So picture this. It's 41 BC, and Herod is absolutely crushing it. He's a rising star. Thanks to his father's deep connections with Rome, he and his brother get this amazing appointment as tetrarchs from Mark Antony himself. I mean, they've got power, they've got Roman backing, the future looks golden. But then, fast forward just 1 year, and the whole chessboard has been flipped upside down. By 40 BC, that same rising star has no army, no title, and a new king sitting on the throne who wants him dead. He is, for all intents and purposes, a fugitive. So how did it all fall apart so fast, you know? How does a situation that secure just disintegrate? Well, to get it, you have to understand that Judea's power structure at the time was basically a house of cards, just waiting for a strong wind to knock it over. Okay, let's break this down. At the very top of the food chain, you've got Rome. No surprise there, right? They're pulling all the strings. Now below them, you have the official local ruler, a guy named Hyrcanus II, who comes from the traditional royal family. But, and this is the most important part, the guys with the real power on the ground were Herod and his brother. They were the enforcers for Rome. Their entire authority came from Roman support. And, of course, lurking in the shadows, you've got a rival, Antigonus, the old king's nephew, who's watching all this and thinking, hey, that throne should be mine.
So, what even is a tetrarch? The simplest way to think about it is like a regional manager. Herod wasn't the king. His whole job, given to him by Rome, was to support the official ruler, Hyrcanus, and just keep things running smoothly. His authority wasn't his own. It was basically on loan from Rome. So you have this really delicate, fragile balance of power. And you know what happens to a house of cards when a storm hits? Well, that storm was about to arrive, and it was called the Parthian Empire. Okay, but wait a minute. I know what you're probably thinking. If Judea is a Roman client state, why didn't the legions just march in and clean this mess up? Seems like an easy fix. Well, the answer reveals a huge weakness at the very heart of Roman power at this specific moment. To put it simply, Rome was completely distracted. They had way bigger fish to fry. For starters, the Parthians, their biggest enemy, launched a massive invasion. That's a 5-alarm fire. But even more importantly, Rome was basically at war with itself. You've got this epic internal power struggle brewing between Herod's patron, Mark Antony, and his rival, Octavian. With Rome so focused on its own civil wars, its grip on faraway provinces like Judea became, well, dangerously loose.
And with Rome looking the other way, the whole thing came crashing down with unbelievable speed. Look at this timeline. In 41 BC, Herod gets his big promotion. Just 1 year later, bam! The Parthians invade, and the rival prince Antigonus sees his chance. He joins them, stages this brilliant coup, captures the king, and sends Herod running for his life. So from Herod's perspective, it was game over. He'd lost everything. But he had one last card to play, a total Hail Mary. He decided to go straight to Rome. Yep, the same empire that had just failed to protect him. And this is where you really see Herod's political genius at work. He doesn't storm into the Senate demanding they make him king. No way. He's way smarter than that. His official mission is to plead with them to put the old guy, Hyrcanus, back on the throne. He makes it all about restoring Roman order, not about his own ambition. It was super smart. Now try to put yourself in the mindset of the Roman Senate. They were pragmatic. They weren't sentimental. So they look at their two options. Option A, restore Hyrcanus. But come on, the guy already proved he was too weak to hold the throne. Why would they bet on him again? Then there's option B, this ambitious, tough, and loyal guy, Herod, standing right in front of them. For the Romans, it was a no-brainer. They wanted a winner who could secure their border. And this pretty much says it all. In an absolutely stunning turn of events, the Senate just bypasses the old dynasty completely. They look at this fugitive who risked everything to get there,
and they decide to give the top job to him instead. He literally went to Rome to ask for a crown for his old boss and walked out wearing it himself. What a power move. But here's the thing. A title from the Roman Senate doesn't magically make you a king. Herod's journey wasn't over. This was really just the beginning of a whole new war to actually win that crown. And that's the crucial point here. This new title wasn't some gift that put him on the throne. It was basically a license to go to war. It was Rome's way of saying, okay, the kingdom is yours now, if you can take it. He had the legal backing, but the kingdom itself was still held by his enemy. Which leaves us with one last massive question. In the span of a single year, Herod went from a powerful governor to a desperate fugitive, and then, in the halls of the Roman Senate, to a king in waiting. Rome gave him a crown, but his rivals still held the kingdom. A fugitive now at a title, but could he actually conquer a kingdom? Well, that is a story for another time.